Hi, it's Angie. Welcome to my channel. So I'm still talking about Savannah Guthrie and her mother Nancy. I'm just I'm not talking about from a medium point of view. I'm just using common sense here because I think it's almost safe to say that she is gone, and the resolution, maybe somebody will have to start getting to that resolution that she's most likely gone. Now, because it would be definitely a psychopath. Hopefully, I always talk about the guardian angels that we have in our spirit guides. So it's most likely safe to say that she's gone. So I'm just going to touch on a couple of things because I'm kind of perplexed a little bit about who is that? Well, there was those Jeffrey Epstein. I can't even go there. The one thing that really perplexes me is why was Deepak Chopra's named Deepak Chopra. Why is his name coming up in those tainted emails? That really struck me. I'm very bewildered about that. There's a couple of things that have bewildered me. Now I'm going to swing back and talk about Nancy Guthrie because I'm still perplexed. I put it in my comments. Why was there no monitored security system in her house? I'm talking victimology, because this situation, or a situation like this, happened to me yesterday. I'm just going to tell you a quick story. We got a text from a neighbor that doesn't live, well, sort of lives more than a couple of houses down the street. And this person flipped a text and said, thank you to me and my husband for coming to our rescue, basically for phoning the cops. And I said, and I'm in the middle of watching some stuff on Nancy Guthrie, and I'm immediately alarmed. And I thought, what are you talking about? I said, we never phoned the cops on anybody yesterday. And she's like, oh. So she phoned me, and I said, what happened? Her name is Marlene. And I said, what happened? And she said, we left our house, and because she does have a walker, she needs assistance. And her husband forgot to close the door. So their door was left wide open for over 3 hours. And I guess somebody that walked by took it upon themselves because they did notice, that they did have two vehicles, but one vehicle was gone and the door was left wide open. So they took it upon themselves to phone 911, which is the police department in Canada here. But when she called, so we spoke on the phone, and I said, no, that wasn't me. And she just assumed that it was the neighbor kind of in front of her. And she phoned him, and he said, no, I never did that. But the thing that really stuck out for me, because I said to her, when we close our door, we never leave this house without our monitored security system. A monitored security system is not what Nancy Guthrie had. She had cameras, okay? And according to the timeline, the cameras did not, there's something there with a failed subscription, or a subscription that wasn't kept up. My hair is a little bit distorted. Now, so that's where my head goes, because I said to the couple, like, did you not set your alarm? And they said, well, we don't have an alarm. She was more interested in marmots. Okay, marmots are little, kind of like marmots are a little rodent that come here. And I'm thinking to myself, we're only February. Why would you think there would be a marmot? I would be more concerned about just a random stranger walking in my house. It really creeped me out. But lo and behold, they do not have an alarmed alarmed cameras, alarmed security system. So that really stuck out to me. And it also stuck out to me regarding Nancy, okay? Because whoever this person was, I said it yesterday, well, we know most likely a vicious predator. And I still am not convinced of the, somebody here with soulmates, I'm still not convinced that, the ransom note is legit. Okay, it just doesn't make sense to me. A lot of things don't make sense to me. And okay, so let me just talk. So this is a little bit about victimology. It kind of has a double-edged sword here, because when you do kick the nest of a hornet, we don't know, that's a figuratively speaking, but when you do kick the nest of a hornet, we see what happened in Spencer and Monique Tepe's case. That could have easily happened in Nancy's case. It feels to me that maybe Nancy had a horrific predator around her, and it could have been, I said yesterday, I'm just kind of being reminded, but there is some Nancys around here too, but it could have been somebody that was up to no good with renovations, okay? Now, I heard a weird thing as well, but when you do kick this hornet's nest, they are determined for revenge. You're never going to win. Don't ever think you're going to win out here in YouTube, okay, regarding kicking the nest. I want to say kicking the neck. I'm not sure, but kicking the nest, that's probably because Pence or Spencer got shot in the neck or around that area. But you're never going to win, okay? You are never going to win with a narcissist, because they are like a child, okay? They can go... they can go toe to toe to toe with you. You're never going to win this. The only time you win is when you walk away and keep away. So, but a series of unfortunate events, most likely that happened in Nancy's. Obviously, she's gone. And you know, I myself, when I watch the footage, the outdoor footage, there would be a lot of animals there. I am really alarmed at how dark her area is. I heard that they had something called light pollution. There's something there regarding light pollution, that maybe they're not allowed to have lights. That's very concerning for me. Just for me as a woman, you know, she's a single, I'm just using this as a term, a single woman. Feels like there's deer around here, but that is alarming to me, how dark it is there. And my mind just immediately turns to why wasn't there a monitored security system? Okay, so no two mountains will meet, but two people will. And Nancy, unfortunately, somehow crossed the snare of a very wicked person, and you know, this is why the tea leaves. Not sure about that. Anyways, so my hair is bugging me here, because it's happened to me here. Okay, it's happened to me so many times. It's happened to me on YouTube. It does happen. Okay, I had a different dream last night. I'm not gonna mention it here, but for those that create content, I'm just gonna give you a little heads up here, because this is the loose lip that sinks ships. Be careful of what you put in your thumbnails, okay? Because you will get a channel strike by this person. Oh my God. He's going after an Australian now. You know, we do get visitors here. We do have a lot of deranged people. This is the Sir Rudy card. I already said it. If the card comes up, if the shoe fits, wear it. But there are, you know, when you keep mentioning this person's name, it feeds the fire. Okay, so I'm guilty of it myself. But it just is always, these types of personality is always, this is the rage bait, always looking for a fight. Okay, that's how narcissism works. The mask slips, attaches itself. It is, it's an addiction to attention, and a narcissist enjoys the fight. Okay, so that's the walkie-talkie card. So that's the boss hog out there, the king, the one that's draped himself in leather jackets. This is as far as I'm gonna go. Okay, somebody really salty out here. But anyways, I'm just perplexed. I'm perplexed about a lot of things, but we see Nancy. She did have a vicious person around her, and Savannah Guthrie is going to enter a very dark time. We see Cameron out there. You know, Cameron out there, maybe he felt like he didn't say too much the first time, so he's out there. I just think the 48 hour has passed, and or maybe we're in the 11th hour. It doesn't make sense to me because it's not the Lindenberg baby. She was age challenged. She was medically challenged. It feels, maybe this is not a prediction. This is not, don't expect anything here. There is no, mediums are psychics, but psychics are not medium. I'm not predicting anything. I'm just going from my personal clairsentience of what came across. Clearly, some vicious person came across her path, and it could be a female. You know, it rotates all along the time. But somebody definitely has got themselves into a can of weenies. Now, this reminds me of TMZ. This reminds me of Harvey Levin. Harvey Levin. Well, it also reminds me of Jeffrey Epstein, because a lot of people were associated with that freakazoid. We saw Princess Eugenie, I think, or Sarah Ferguson, kind of getting dragged through this. There's a lot of people. This guy was like the Huxtable, okay? The Huxtable, that was Cosby. There's a lot of people that were connected to this demon, and I'm so glad that he's not walking on this planet, okay? Because he had a lot of perverts with him. Am I allowed to say that? But a lot of these people got themselves entangled with this guy. This is the lawyer card, okay? So there was a couple of lawyers that had to be removed from their practice, but that's what happens, right? I don't know what the attraction is out there to a couple of people here, including that YouTube channel out there regarding EPE. I don't know what the attraction is. I don't know what the attraction would have been to align yourself with Jeffrey Epstein. It escapes my mind. He's a pig beyond belief. He's not even charismatic. He had all of these young girls around him at that is that the Poison Ivy? Yeah. It's kind of like a sanctuary city where he was at that island. So anyways, prayers to those that have left that place. And anyways, I'm just taking one for my guardian angel deck, because I feel like the Guthries are going to need incredible therapy to get through this. Okay, because this person most likely watched her residence. And sometimes, well, mine, you know, I live in Graceland. I often, divine timing. Okay, so I like to say divine intervention, because I was pulled out just in the nick of time, okay? And I live in a very comfortable environment. And the reason I live in a very comfortable environment is because we have a lot of people that do unalive themselves because of this Jeffrey Epstein kind of person. But we do live in a community that, you know, we saw yesterday. Somebody possibly could have went in that house, okay? So I live in a wonderful place, but still I'm guarded and protected. So I'm going to take another one here, and I have to reiterate, you're never going to win, okay? You're never going to win against the somebody like chemistry here, but the chemistry inside of a narcissist, they're determined. They have no choice but to, maybe somebody will cave, but it's kind of like they're run by the mask. They report to the narcissism or the darkness in them. They've literally turned away from God, okay? And whatever happened to them results in something that is horrific for whatever happened to this person or persons of, that's the POIs. Maybe there's more than one. But this reminds me of the Transylvania deck, okay? Because that's like a night stalker. Whether it's, around Nancy Slur or on YouTube here, they have an incredible appetite to be in control. Whoever did this to Nancy is remaining in control. That person calls all the shots right now, okay? And there's blood on the doorstep. Was this arranged? Because it feels to me that maybe a little bit too late to the plate. Could be a church, could be something with church. I don't know. I'm just throwing this out there. Anyways, whoever did this to her, we know is definitely, this is not typical. This is not typical. That's why it's in the news so often, okay? Just like it wasn't typical for me to hear that that person left their door open, like wide open, okay? So there's a lot of different people in this neighborhood as well. But this is back to the social media stalkers. This could have been the person that was around Nancy, watching her, timing her, very, very unhealthy, okay? And this always reminds me of Harvey Levin. With Harvey Levin, I understand that he was the one that got the email, but I remember how he spoke about, this could be Democrats, one second here, but I remember how he spoke about the Reiner case when he embellished. He's a bit of an embellisher, okay? I don't know if that particular person would be that stupid to be that in close proximity to Tucson. This could have been easily done on an international level, because we see whoever did this is getting their feeding by it constantly being talked about. So I hope, this is dollars to donuts, but I hope that, I hope they do find her, Whoa. Was somebody catfished out here? Catfish. Okay, that also reminds me of Dr. What's his name out there? The one that likes to fish. That's that McKee guy. But anyways, did she take the bait? Are they taking the bait regarding these emails? That's, maybe they're being catfished. Maybe Nancy and her family are being catfished right now. Who knows? We don't know. I guess the ticker is going. There's a ticking time now. The clock has been reset. It feels a little bit odd to me, but it feels like maybe they are being catfished with all of these emails. Just like that's the Londoner card, okay? If you fall into that snare, because not every fan of Elvis is a friend or a fan of everybody, okay? So you can easily get yourself into that snare. But remember, no two mountains will meet, but two people will. And Spirit knows exactly when to exercise avenge. Never happens when you expect it. And it can happen from a family member. I know what that means. Here's my joy and happiness card, because I live in Graceland. My home is my Graceland. I'm protected. I'm not only divinely protected, I'm physically protected, because this house is cameras. Got cameras around it, okay? So something with the diocese here. That's when she didn't show up at church, okay? So quite alarming. The whole thing is alarming for me, between the Uber driver, between the distance between her house and her daughter's house, between, I'm going to take this other card deck out, between not having a paid or up-to-date paid subscription of the camera, and not having installed monitored cameras. Was this a situation that maybe it fell on deaf ears? Maybe perhaps it did, because I know for me personally, I wouldn't put that burden on my son. I myself wouldn't do that, and I also wouldn't put my kids on camera either. You really have to have a really ignorant sense of, or a sense of entitlement, or some kind of screw loose to put your family on YouTube here and not expect people to comment. We know Savannah, she was she is kind of like a public persona, public personality, so she knows that it's open season for us, for her, regarding her and her family. That would be for us, I guess. That's kind of like an Us magazine, because they're publishing stuff about them all the time. But on YouTube, for smaller people like us, like me and whoever's out here, you really have to guard your personal life, okay? Because if that can happen to an 84-year-old woman, what's next? Because I really thought, first of all, like I said, we were dealing with the Reiner case. I didn't think it could get any worse than that. Then up comes the Tepe case. I really didn't think it could get any worse than the Tepe case. Then up comes Savannah Guthrie case. Okay, so I just think that this is a whole new level of abuse out there, and it could be the crypto, okay, cryptocurrency. And maybe it's good luck finding that, because that is really international. And we have VPN. We have VPN, which is that operating system, and you can send stuff or make yourself look like you're in a different country. So are they beating a dead horse here? I hate to say it like that, but okay, here we go. And you're beating a dead horse. You're beating a dead horse if you think a narcissist is ever going to stop doing what they do on YouTube, okay? It's a feeding frenzy for a narcissist and the minions. They work with many minions. It's like piranhas here, okay? They attack your channel. The piranhas come with them. This is around the clock. Sunday, Monday, happy days, okay? They enjoy it. A narcissist absolutely loves to be in control, needs to be in control, and they absolutely enjoy the fight, and they also enjoy all the cameras on them, okay? Cameras are not necessarily cameras. Cameras are what happens. It is indirectly by you watching me, or you watching that lunatic out there, okay? All my videos are for entertainment purposes. As soon as that person presses record, whether it's live or on a walkie-talkie or on a walk, he or she instantly is getting draped in the attention, because these are attention whores, okay? I have to say the messages whether you like it or not, but that's the reality. So don't think you're ever going to win against that type of entity. It will drain you. And this could be the cameras that I'm talking about, or the lack of cameras, or the lack of information regarding Nancy. Okay, I think that a gorilla type of person, that's just figuratively speaking, because that card is in this deck somewhere, that is a vicious person. Okay, and that has no empathy but loves to remain in control. That is exactly what crossed the Tepe. That's exactly what crossed the Reiners. And that's what is exactly out here regarding EPE. Just pick your poison, okay? Okay, if the suit weren't too tight. Yeah, because he's the sneaky Yanni, okay? This one here, you see the pockets, right? But this one here, I always question people sometimes when they wear sunglasses at inappropriate times. Not for everybody, but this one here, this is the one that changes their name say my name, say my name. This is the one that changes the name when they create, this is the one that creates fictitious profiles, okay? A lot of them do that. They create fictitious profiles so they can hide and watch what's going on, or they can attract, that's the bait and switch kind of like, so they can attract somebody on these dating sites, okay? I'm not saying obviously that never happened to Nancy, but this, you know, this is a very dangerous card too. Sneaks around at night. This is the chat GBT. Actually, this is the CQDX, okay? That's the CB guy, kind of like this person had a CB, or I think they call it a ham radio. Very, very sneaky people. So, but I'm going to tell you something. You never win against this type of personality, ever. The immature antics will never stop. Whatever injury they suffered at a young age is stuck. They're stuck in that. And it's a feeding frenzy. Okay, so thanks for being here. This regarding a walkie-talkie, I guess, today again. And because they do something with britches, but they do, they are very jealous, and they love the fight. They love to be challenged because they always have to be right. Okay, so they're controlled by the mask that they wear. So have a wonderful day wherever you are. Like, subscribe if you wish. Hi ho, it's off to work I go. 3 for 3. What is that lyric? I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never going to get me down, because I've said so many times, this is my Graceland. What happens in my Graceland stays in my Graceland, but I do live a wonderful life thanks to the divine intervention. So take care. Like, subscribe if you wish. This is regarding all the walkie-talkies out there. Anyways, have a wonderful day. It's all done. Enjoy.